So, it comes down to this. The last time I will ever be reviewing a cave title. Now, while that's not to say there aren't other cave games I could review, I never got around to reviewing Pro Gear, or Death Smiles 2, but I don't really like those games that much. Thus, I never planned on reviewing them. They're not bad games to speak of, they're just not games I'd like to review. So let's get to it. Ibara. Developed by Cave and released into Japanese arcades in 2005, Ibara tells the charming story of one Teresa Rose and her group of lingerie-wearing badass, plant-obsessed followers who, in the 19th century, want to destroy all steam-powered technology and transform the planet into a giant garden. Sounds quaint enough, doesn't it? Luckily, humanity at the time had developed two planes in secret and unleashed them in defense against the oncoming invaders. And so begins the game. Much like other cave shooters, you have the choice between two different aircraft at the start of the game. However, unlike other cave shooters, which ship you play as depends on which player you select, Player 1 or Player 2. I don't think there's a difference between the two in terms of shot patterns or power, so I'm assuming coloring and outward appearance are the only differences. I'm just joking. As usual, one is faster, the other has a larger shot pattern. You make your way through 5 stages, blasting everything to pieces and trying not to get your ass shot off. At the end of each stage, you'll face off against one of Teresa Rose's daughters as bosses. At your disposal is a pretty decent array of collectible firepower, ranging from your standard shot to flamethrowers, rockets, and homing missiles. That's pretty much the down and dirty of the storyline and general layout of the game. Let's get to the good stuff. The graphics in this game are phenomenal. I think it's one of the early examples of just how graphically badass and powerful Cave's Hitachi SH3 arcade boards really were, and what they were capable of in the hands of true artists. Being that the theme of the game is based around steam-powered technology, there's an abundance of machinery and all sorts of little details to really flesh out the world and bring it to life. There's spinning gears and rotating towers and turrets, all kinds of pipes, and even helicopter technology. One of the main things I've always enjoyed about Ibara's graphical presentation, strangely, are the buildings. Unlike a lot of other titles in Cave's lineup, Ibara was directed by Shinobu Yagawa. If you've seen any of my other reviews of Cave games, or any of my shoot-'em-up related videos, you already know I do not like this man, nor do I really enjoy the way he chooses to design games. Please, don't bite my head off. Let me explain. I like the games he's programmed, I'm just saying they're not really my favorites. Well, okay, Akai Katana is pretty badass. I'll give him that. But here's what, or more like, here's why. Yagawa pretty much uses the same exact shtick for scoring in every single one of his games. Akai Katana is really the only one he worked on where this doesn't apply. Yagawa had previously worked for Rising before landing at Cave if you want backstory. Ready? Here we go. So the score mechanic in Ibara, as previously mentioned, is exactly the same as other games Yagawa has programmed. Same as Pink Sweets, same as Armed Police Batrider, which I'll also admit is one of my favorites, not counting the scoring system. Same as Battle Garega, and so on and so on. So this is how it works. When an enemy is destroyed, it drops a medallion that slowly falls to the bottom of the screen. Picking it up nets you points, as does large and small crystal flowers. The way Yagawa games work is that you have to consecutively collect medallions, without letting any of them go off screen. Each time the screen is cleared of any medals, and you kill an enemy, the next rank of medals goes up. Starts at 100 points each, ends up at 10,000 points each. If you miss grabbing any of them, the rank drops back to 0. Yeah, doesn't seem like a big deal, but I just prefer the act of chaining in other Cave titles, as opposed to medal collecting. Most of the time I'm trying not to get killed, so continually scanning the screen for floating medals to pick up really doesn't interest me that much. Lastly, as in other games Yagawa has programmed, there is a hidden ranking system, i.e., the better you do, the harder the game becomes. The catch? Oh yeah, fuck me, the rank is hidden! So the only way to know if you're ranking up is if the game starts kicking your ass. Bombing does lower your rank, but again, it takes the entire stage to collect enough bomb pieces to yield an actual decent bomb. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, the graphics. Besides what I've already mentioned, the game looks really good. Explosions are nicely done, although I do find at times they get distracting. Like, they take too long to disappear. I don't know. The buildings have very minute details that really provide an interesting backdrop to the entire game. It's almost like the development team spent more time designing the buildings than other aspects of the game. Makes sense though, because you do spend the majority of the time blowing up buildings, as opposed to planes or other land vehicles. While the majority of enemy projectiles are colored either blue or purple, I do find it hard sometimes to discern between bullets and background elements. Like the contrast isn't high enough? Maybe it's just me. On the audio side of things, sounds and music are also really well done. Cave games have always had very good sounds and explosions, and music as well. Ibara delivers on both. Machine gun fire, things blowing up, and bombs all sound great. The small amount of voice work is also good, with small phrases being said during certain parts of the game. The music is also top-notch, again, as are most cave games. It's an interesting mishmash of techno, hard rock, and other synthesized musical styles. It perfectly fits the theme of the game, and makes the game that much more enjoyable. Speaking of voice work, has anyone else ever noticed the mechanical announcer that speaks whenever you pick up a weapon? Usually says things like rocket or machine gun. Okay, then for fuck's sake, can someone please tell me why he says final wave whenever you pick up the spread shot? I don't get it. I've been playing this game since it came out, and I've never been able to figure out what in the fuck final wave means. Or am I just hearing things wrong and he's saying something else? He sure as fuck isn't saying sway, which is what the actual weapon is called. I'll tell you that. Lastly, am I totally mistaken? Or is the phrase that is said at the title screen of the game the same exact phrase that Jubei says in Samurai Shodown 2 before he fights? Am I imagining that or no? I could be. Overall, Ibara is a classic title in Cave's lineup. Is it really a standout from all the rest? Well, that's debatable. Is it my favorite? No, it's not. Is it the worst? No, it's not. It's right in that meaty middle part of the shoot 'em up zone for me. I don't play it a lot, but every once in a while I'll fire it up, because it is fun. And very nice to look at. Besides the original arcade version, Ibara has only seen a single port, and that was for the PlayStation 2 in 2006. Which is also the same year that a sequel, Pink Sweets, was released in arcades. Don't even get me started on Pink Sweets. I hate it. Hate it. Other than that, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you don't feel like tracking down the PS2 version, Ibara is playable in MAME currently, so go check it out.
Nightfall.